Hey guys, what's going on? Big Mike, the 717 Outlaw here with you today. So today, unfortunately we had snow here in Pennsylvania, so it's not necessarily the best day to ride a motorcycle. So I figured I'd bring you this little tutorial on how to drive a manual vehicle. Now today we're not in my truck, obviously, or the Vet because, well, the Vet's not coming out in this kind of weather and my truck's automatic. So we actually borrowed my buddy Cody. We borrowed his big old 2500 Cummins, and it is a 6-speed manual, and we're going to go ahead and walk you through how to drive a manual. Most of these steps are pretty universal. Some of them too can go with a diesel application. All right guys, let's get into this. All right, so first off, we're going to talk about one thing, and that is in most vehicles that are manual, whenever you get in the vehicle, what you're going to want to do is, one, check the pattern, because you wouldn't believe how many times I've been in someone's vehicle and somehow they throw it into reverse versus drive, or first, second, third, whatever. They throw it into the wrong gear. Most vehicles have a unique shift pattern. This one, of course, is your standard 6-speed with reverse on the right up is pretty much the reverse pattern. Now, most vehicles will be different. You might have one that is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse is to the left and up right next to first. But just be aware of that when you get into your vehicle and you have that application, is make sure you know the shift pattern. All right, next we're going to go down and check out the pedals. Looking at the pedals now, we have our throttle, we have our brake, and we have our clutch. Now when you go to start a vehicle, typically what you're going to do, even in manual, if you have the parking brake on, I always do brake and clutch. And we're going to go ahead and fire this truck up just in case the parking brake is not on. That way you're not going to coast anywhere since you have the clutch in. What you're going to want to do before you let your clutch out is check and make sure that you are out of gear, which this is in neutral. Neutral is when you can move the shifter freely. It doesn't have any gear or anything to catch. So now that we've done that, we can let off of our clutch. And I do have the brake on since she's out of gear. All right guys, so first step here, we're gonna go ahead, push in our brake, push our clutch down. And what we're gonna do here is go all the way over and up. We are in first gear. Now, typically in a diesel, this is gonna help out you diesel guys. Typically first is a creeper gear. This is really good for if you're pulling something, it helps you get your weight moving prior to your next shift. So what we're going to do here, we're off the brake, we're going to slowly let out the clutch, and we are starting to move. Now the creeper gear, like I said, you shouldn't need any throttle to come out of this gear. This gear has enough in it and the torque of the motor to where you can coast with no throttle. So right here, no throttle, and we're just coasting right about 700 RPM and moving along just fine. So now we're gonna do a gear change. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do clutch in, pull back, and release the clutch, and we are in second gear. And since we were moving, there is not a lot of throttle needed in that change. All right, so now we're going to come to a complete stop. So we are going to push our clutch in, push our brake, go over to our shifter and put her up into neutral. Make sure you do that little wiggle, make sure that she is fully in neutral. So now we are good on that. And as you can see too, like I said, without a parking brake in a manual transmission, when you are in neutral, you will coast. So of course, let's go ahead and put our brake on. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the footwork while shifting. All right, so like I said before, brake in, clutch, go ahead and put her in first. And we're gonna go over and actually give it a little bit of throttle. So we're gonna give a little bit of throttle, ease into it as you creep off of the clutch. So there we are cruising in first gear. Now we're gonna go and do a shift change. So we're gonna go off the throttle, clutch in, pull back into second gear, and just creep out of the clutch. And there we go. Now we're going to do a 2-3 shift. Clutch in, third gear, clutch out. We're going to brake for a turn. We're going to actually go down into second and make this turn. And we're going to come to a stop. So clutch in and brake. Now that we see the footwork, let's see what goes on up here from my point of view. So we have our clutch in and our brake. Go ahead, first gear. Let our clutch out with a little bit of throttle. Clutch in the second. Now we're going to go ahead and clutch again and up into third. And there we go. And the other thing too that doesn't hurt to practice is, especially seeing our parking lot here, is this parking lot does have some hills. This never hurts to start out as a practice area, is find an empty parking lot with whether your manual transmission car or, like in my case, a buddy's car, and try and get used to taking off on a hill. That way you can get a feel for how much throttle and clutch you have to use to either stay stationary and to creep as you move from a stop on an incline. So we're going to go ahead, put the clutch in, put her in neutral, clutch out, and we have our brake on. Now we're at a stop. Alright guys, so just another quick walkthrough on this. So we have our brake in, we're going to go ahead and clutch, first gear, a little bit of throttle, now we're going to change gears. We're going to go clutch in, second, let the clutch out with a little bit of throttle, and we're off and rolling. Alright guys, now last but not least, so we're going to be going and moving, and we're just going to pretty much park the truck. So we're going from second gear. Go ahead, clutch in with the brake, come to a dead stop. Go ahead, put the truck in neutral, truck or car. Now what we're going to do is let off the clutch, parking brake on, so you can let off the brake at that point. Turn the vehicle off, and like I said before, clutch in, put it in first, and there you go. Your vehicle is parked, and like I said before, this is your fail-safe in case your parking brake ever would disengage. It doesn't really matter what gear you put it in, as long as your vehicle is in gear. Typically first or reverse are the best, just because they are the smaller gears of the transmission. And there you go guys, that's a simple walkthrough on driving a manual transmission vehicle. I hope you guys do like this video, and I hope that it can help you out, especially in your application. Like I said, the best things to do to get out of this is every vehicle is different. You're going to have different play in your clutch, whether how far your travel is from where it is in its resting position all the way to the floor, and where it engages and disengages. Every vehicle is going to be different, but this at least helps you get an idea of what you have to do. So get familiar with your vehicle, along with getting familiar with your pattern, your shift pattern, and even too when it comes to vehicles, gas versus diesel, is always trying to figure out that RPM range. All your vehicles are going to have a different RPM range that works for a takeoff or that works for coasting, especially diesel when you have a creeper gear like first. So alright guys, I am going to actually end this video here. We will be back with more moto vlogs and things like that once the weather gets a hair nicer and the roads kind of clear up a little bit with some of the leftover salt and things like that. So, as I was saying, I really do hope you guys like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. As always, I really do hope it can help you. If there's anything that I didn't cover that you possibly want to know about a manual transmission vehicle, feel free to drop those comments down below. And as always, I hope you guys subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that little bell next to it for notifications on the newest videos that I will be putting out. We will be getting back into moto vlogs, gun days, and other things like that. So, alright guys, I will see you on the next upload. Remember, drive safe, drive smart, always wear your seatbelt, changing up a little bit, and I will catch you guys on the next upload. Like I said, drop those comments down below if you want to know anything more about a manual transmission. Alright guys, see ya.